Hi, in this quick tip video on adding haze to photographs, I'll be demonstrating 3 Photoshop techniques which I used to cover in my workshops. The last one just has the edge on the other 2 techniques, so it's worth watching to the end. I'm going to use this photo of the gorgeous model Cariad to demonstrate the techniques. Before I show how to create haze in a photo, first we need to select the colour. The first thing we do is look at the photo to see if we can figure out where the light's coming from. You can tell by the way the light falls on the model's face that the light comes from the left. Next, what we need to do is select the colour we're going to use for the haze. To do this, we use the colour picker and set the foreground colour. We make sure that the colour picker is in brightness mode, denoted by the radio checkbox B. Then what we do is select the colour by clicking around to find a lighter patch on the model's skin. Then what we do is push the brightness slider up a bit. That looks pretty good. This gives us a brighter version of the same colour. And we click OK. So for the first technique, we're going to add a solid colour adjustment layer, which opens up the colour picker, which defaults to the foreground colour we've already set. Then we click OK to close that. The next thing we do is click on the gradient tool on the left hand side. And then we click on the mask of the solid colour adjustment layer, so we can apply a gradient to the layer mask. We need to make sure that the linear gradient option is selected, and also that the gradient goes from white to black. Then we click and hold the mouse on the top left and drag it down towards the right and release. And the last thing we do is nudge down the opacity just a smidge to make it look a little bit more subtle. Yep, that looks pretty good. I like that. And there you go, that's the first technique. For the second technique, we're going to use a gradient adjustment layer, which defaults to a linear style gradient when it opens up. This time we'll use a radial gradient rather than a linear, so we click on the Style drop-down menu and select Radial. Then what we do is drag the gradient up to the top left-hand side where the light is coming from. As you can see, our gradient is a little bit on the small side, so we just need to up the scale to make it a bit larger. Oops, maybe not that much. I'll just nudge that back a little bit. There you go, that's a lot better. Just click OK. Then we lower the opacity to make it a little bit more subtle. And there you go, that's the second technique for adding haze to a photo. I'm going to finish off this video by showing you my favourite technique for adding haze to a photo. I'll open an empty layer to start with. Then I click on the paintbrush tool, which adopts the foreground colour. With a large brush, I'm going to paint randomly in the top left-hand corner for a little bit. Now I'm going to reduce the brush size and paint randomly around the other area. I then apply a Gaussian blur to this layer to create a haze. I tend not to push the blur too far, so it leaves a bit of variation. You can see that there's less haze here, but there's a little bit more here. So all I'm going to do now is click OK and reduce the opacity of the layer to make it a little bit more subtle. There we go, that's spot on. And there you have it, that's the third technique, which is my favourite because it's less uniform, although the first 2 techniques certainly have their own merit. I hope you found this video informative. If so, then please press the like button. Even better, please subscribe. That's it for now then. Cheerio.